Hey guys, I'm a bit late with this, but here's my review of the RMZ Saber Tiger Schwarz special from Takara Tomy. We're going to unbox the kit, check out how posable it is, and compare it to some other RMZs and Saber Tigers. Let's take a look.
Robo Shop.
Alrighty, so first of all, I'm gonna say I'm usually a fan of the RMZ box art, but this one really isn't doing it for me. It looks weirdly blocky. You've got these streaks here that I guess are supposed to give it some sort of dynamic depth, but that doesn't really change the fact that the pose looks awkward, and I also have no idea what this is supposed to be. I mean, other than I guess everyone on Planet Z uses tracer ammo at all times. On the side here, we have the usual. There's a close-up of the head saying actual size, pilot figure cockpit, and shows some of the gimmicks here, which we're going to look at properly afterwards in the photo booth. On the sides there is the usual. See if I can show this. Yeah, there's the fluff text. There's a couple of pictures from Chaotic Century here. And yeah, nothing really out of the ordinary. This is, again, quite a thick box, probably a lot of stuff in here. And also, you know, I'll say, and as a conclusion of my analysis of the box here, box art kind of stinks, but then again, who cares? You know, it's not super important. This box is quite full. We get the bags out. We've got some mechanical bits and the caps and the canopy here. Another bag full of black and red bits, mostly armor from the look of it. And then we have gold parts. Unfortunately, this is the stale scrambled eggs variety of gold. Not a fan of that, and I'm already seeing something worse, which is, what on earth? Why is this pink? Oh my god. Looks terrible. That seems to be the Gatling gun here. There's one pre-painted piece. There's a blue painted lens here. A closer look in a second, of course. And that's it. Let's take a look at... Oh, no, hold on. We've got some coil springs here for various decoration purposes. That's cool. I'll talk about this first, actually. Looking at the picture here on the back, there seem to be some that go on the back of the torso. I'm really not sure what all of these do. The big one, obviously, goes on the Gatling gun here, which is cool because the real Gatling gun also came with a coil spring, of course. I mean, the real one, the motorized one, you know. Other than that, I don't know where these are going to go, but I certainly prefer coil springs to rubber tubes, so that's good. Rubber tubes always deteriorate over time. Now, get this out of the bag. Now, the instructions have the fugly box art. We have this picture explaining to us what all of the armaments are. And let's see if we can get this folded open. We're serious with this pink thing on the top here, aren't we? Yeah, we've got the same gimmick pictures here. And then building instructions, but wow, that's a lot. This might be the longest instructions for an RMZ that I've seen yet. Not terribly interesting to look at, but there certainly is a lot of them. And otherwise, there's really nothing to this. We've got the painting guide, we've got the gimmicks pictures, and that's pretty much it. So let's take a look at the parts. Ugh, damn, there's a lot of stuff in this. This looks to be leg armor and the tail, some panel lines here. And then we have these red bits. This is the cannon that goes on the chest, and leg joint covers, I think. We have More black armor. Ooh, that looks like we're going to have color separated coil springs on the sides. That's nice. Otherwise, yeah. Nothing really in the way of like added detail here. It pretty much just looks like more or less just like the Saber Tiger armor. This is the head. This looks like it goes on the legs. I'm also seeing gaps here for coil springs to poke out, hopefully. And then we have some red armor bits for the chest. This looks like, if I had to guess, I'd say this is a separate sprue so that they can mold these in red, because I just checked and there's no black equivalent of these that come with the kit. Because I mean, there is eventually, you know, there's going to be different color variants of the Saber Tiger that aren't going to require these parts to be a different color from the rest. We've got more leg armor here with a bunch of panel lines. Here we have a very nicely detailed, actually, pilot figure of Schwarz, may the Schwarz be with you, whatever you want to call this guy. Actually forget what he was called in the anime. I mean, obviously his name is supposed to be Schwarz, you know. Schwarz, actually, if we're going to pronounce that properly. That's the Obi-Wan Kenobi. No, I will not stop with that joke. We have standard caps sprue with these two, number 1, and the rest is number 2. It's probably only going to use the number 2s. Then we have polycaps, 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 and more polycaps out the wazoo. And finally, the gold parts. No, sir, I don't like it. Looks like crap out of the bag as well. Really just a terrible gold collar. And then we have a whole bunch of gunmetal bits, mechanical stuff, and more gunmetal bits. And I am now wondering about something which we are going to clarify right now. Yeah, so these gaps on the side are for these vents here. There's actually no visible coil springs, because I just noticed there aren't any coil springs on these sprues. Anyway, I'm already entering the waffling phase of this unboxing, so I'm just going to put this guy together now so that we can check him out in the photo booth. And because it was kind of fun with the Trinity Liger, I'm going to do final assembly of this one on camera as well. I also have a handful of things I actually want to show you guys, because partly because I forgot to do a part of the unboxing. But anyway, first off is this thing, where first of all you can see here just how god-awful this pink piece looks in real life. I'm either going to have to paint this in probably black, because there's no way I'm going to be able to exactly match this silver, or I will just swap it out with the one that's attached to the Gatling gun here. The other thing is this little painted lens here, which honestly looks fine, but why isn't this a clear piece that goes in here? Why is this painted? I don't understand that at all. The other thing that's worth pointing out is these coil springs. Honestly, this entire torso section is probably the most difficult thing I've built since I've put together an HMM Genosaur. It's that fiddly. And then you finally have it all together and you realize that actually this one is way too long. Like when it's in, it looks like this. And then when you put the front torso on it, this armor part here actually squeezes it in so that it sort of looks like it's all scrunched together. And so I have no idea why that's the case. There is something weird in the instructions about cutting something off, but that looks like you're supposed to cut off a peg, not a part of the coil spring. So I have no idea what's going on here. It's not really a problem though. I took this clipper here, cut off a length of coil spring, more than this, by the way, because cutting off this much still wasn't enough. And then what you do is just you take one or several, if you want, sections of the spring, fold this down. You can use a flat nose plier if you're feeling technical, but I just did it with my fingers, and then you hook it onto the peg that it hooks onto in here, and you're fine. So it's not a huge problem or anything, but given how annoying it is to put this together, then also having to take it apart several times just to get the coil springs to fit, yeah, not the most fun I've had with an RMZ. But anyway, let's actually put this together now, and I'll start with the worst part. I've already put this on and removed it like 3 times. Goes on here, and you can just barely see where the peg is supposed to go, and well, slather me in untruth juice and call me a liar. I got it right the first time. Probably because the polycap is loose at this point, but oh well. Anyway, next I'll put on the head, which, by the way, weird thing about the head, the entire internal structure, as you can see here, is molded in gold plastic, and you can see it here in the back. But like, why aren't there just maybe 1 or 2 open slits here on the armor where you could see it poke through? I don't understand that. Seems like a huge missed opportunity. I mean, you can still see it back here, and it's pretty cool, but it would have been a really easy way to get some collar separation on this thing. We also have to give it its gun here on the bottom, of course. And then what am I going to do first? I think I'm going to stick on the tail. Goes on this peg here, which is one of those nice pegs that fold out of the way as soon as you try to insert something on them. Here we go. In case you can't tell from how I'm struggling with this, of course, on this, like every other RMZ, everything is a super tight fit. Now, put on the front legs here. This is pretty cool, by the way. Pay attention to the red border here. There's a red ring that goes around the gunmetal part so that it's always red when you're moving this around. And also there's this hinge mechanism here, probably show it better here, on the inside of the leg that allows you to pull it off the thing. Hold on. Comes out about yay far. We'll do poseability afterwards in the photo booth, of course. Wow, this feels really loosey-goosey for an RMZ. That's weird. Hind legs. Wrong one. This one plugs on like this. And here we go. All right. The whole thing took me about 5 hours to put together, by the way. It's a very involved build. By far the most involved out of any RMZ I've built so far. I will talk more about that in the review. Suffice it to say that I don't mean it as a complaint. By the way, I'll take pictures. It comes with this spare armor piece that goes here on the shoulders if you want to just build it as a straight Saber Tiger. But why would you do that if you can also build it with a giant Gatling gun? Speaking of which, now this should be interesting. The coil spring is meant to plug in here. Okay, and that worked just fine, no trouble at all. And then we mount the Gatling gun like so. And that's it. That's the Saber Tiger all put together. It has some interesting poseability features. Whoops. That it has some interesting poseability features, especially to do with how the torso functions. But we'll look at those in the photo booth. That's it. And let's move on over there. Okay, I'm going to start with the Gatling gun because I had to take it off to show you guys the hip poseability. This thing swings up and down like so, and side to side like so, basically just, you know, to where it bumps into this ugly pink thing on the back, which also rotates, by the way. And yeah, there's really nothing else to this. Obviously it doesn't rotate on its own. So let's take a look at the Saber Tiger. So starting at the front, we have, of course, the mouth opens and closes, the cockpit opens, and you see a bunch of nice gold detail in here. Although I still think they could have left some slits on the side of the armor here to also let the gold poke through on the sides. The neck goes side to side, almost not at all. Any side to side motion you're really going to get out of the ball joint that the head sits on, which actually goes quite far. It does go up and down quite a bit, like so, and down like so. So that's good. The weapon here on the shoulder also swings up and down. I'm going to remove this as well to get it out of the way, because what I really want to show you guys, aside from the fact that this thing of course swings side to side, is how these shoulder and hip joints work. They look like they're sitting on a ball, basically. You can see the red that comes in and out here, and then there's another ball joint that the leg sits on. And miraculously, this actually gives you a fair bit of movement without having sort of one of those ugly polycap hinges sort of coming in and out of the torso like you see on a lot of other RMZs. The one downside to this is you do have to be a little bit careful, because this is a ball joint here and it likes to pop out. The heel joint goes up to about 90 degrees. And then here on the paw, we actually have a joint here that goes all the way up and down like so. And it also sits on a ball joint itself, which gives you more movement here and also allows you to rotate it all the way around, actually, if you want. So this is probably the biggest step up on the Zoid compared to the Blade Liger, is that it actually has paw joints that work properly. Hind legs are sitting on the exact same contraption here, and they bend all the way here and go all the way out like that. And this actually bends backwards a little, as is often the case. The paw sits on the same contraption as the front, even though it looks a little bit different. Tail goes up and down, and that's all it does. And then the torso, first of all, has a hinge here that goes side to side, and the front can go up and down. He says, doing it in the opposite order. Now the important thing here is you can already get, you know, this much of a bend just when it's in this mode, but you can pull this apart like so, hopefully without it coming out of the torso completely. And now you have another joint here that goes like this, giving you a lot more movement here in the torso. And it just tucks away again if you don't need it, like so, and it's gone. It's a really good solution to give you a lot of movement in the torso without having that spindly appearance of the HMM Saber Tiger, in my opinion. So let's do some comparisons. Here's the original motorized version, and of course it had to be the OER, because, well, if you're wondering about that, you must be new here. And if you are, subscribe. Anyway, this is still my favorite, of course, but seeing these two side by side like this makes me think the head on the motorized one might be a bit big. Here's the HMM. I haven't built my Schwarz variant yet, so the plain one will have to do. Funnily enough, it also has a larger head, and of course the torso is a bit more spindly than the RMZ version, but in all honesty, I think this is a really cool looking kit and one of the most underrated HMMs out there. And here's the RMZ Blade Liger. I'm showing you this one because the Saber Tiger is quite a bit bigger and bulkier. I'm not sure how accurate this is to how they compare in Chaotic Century. I honestly suspect it's just because they had to cram more complex engineering into the Saber Tiger. Also, here's a look at it with all the armaments removed and that replacement armor piece for the back. I think that gives you a good idea of the improved shape of the torso over the HMM, but yeah, nobody's going to display it like this. And I'm going to complain about this one last time. I've been looking at stills from the anime and it doesn't look to me like that's the source for this ugly hunk of pink on the back here. If anyone knows where this comes from, please do let me know in the comments. Anyway, you can just leave this off. I would recommend just swapping the one that sits on the side of the Gatling for it. Having these two identical shapes right next to each other doesn't look that great anyway. Either that or just paint the kit, obviously. Like, paint it all pink to match, I mean. Yeah, and I think that's my segue into the review portion of this video, and the short version is, I like this one. If you skip the earlier parts of the video, I'll repeat my complaints here because I don't have many. I hate the pink piece on the back, and I don't understand why the searchlight is painted on instead of being a separate clear piece. You're also going to have to cut at least one of the coil springs down to size to get the kit to work, so if you really just want to be plugging plastic pieces together, you might have an issue with that. Beyond that though, I think this one actually sets a new quality standard for the RMZ line. The previous kits basically all had under-engineered legs, especially the near non-existent paw joints, and this is all designed much better on this one. Plus, they finally figured out a way to attach the legs with joints that do what you need them to do and still look good. I also think the extending torso is a great solution. It was definitely difficult to put together, but once it's done, it works really well and definitely helps the kit be poseable without looking too spindly. The only problem with it all is that because of its size, it doesn't quite hold its weight up as easily anymore as the earlier kits that weighed almost nothing. So if you're like me and you don't necessarily intend to get all of the RMZs, this is one of the ones I would definitely recommend. It also makes me really hopeful for the Iron Kong, which looks a bit weird in the pictures we've seen so far, but it could really take advantage of the progress they've made here with the engineering, so I'm curious to see how that turns out. And that's it for this one, folks. I've got another Monster Hunter Zoid and the RMZ Iron Kong on the way early next month, plus those two kits from Two Toys that I've been sitting on forever now. So it's going to be a pretty Zoidy rest of 2025, and if that's your bag and you're not subscribed yet, I mean, what are you doing with your life, really? And while you're down there to fix that, give the video a like and leave a comment. Any sacrifice to the algorithm gods is a worthy one, and it's almost as good as supporting me on Patreon or leaving a PayPal donation. Just saying. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.